So what's good, y'all? Listen, man, going out of town pretty soon. Me and Queen's anniversary is coming up, so we going out of town, man, and we're not thinking about, we've already, booked a cabin. So we doing the cabin thing, and I was thinking about drones, man, getting like a drone and getting some like beautiful footage. But let me tell you what kind of stopped me in my tracks yesterday, right? We was looking at the cabins, man, and I know y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but hear me out. We looking at the cabins, right? And the lady who we booked the cabin from gave us her information so we could look at some other things she had, bro. And we looked at one of the pictures, and there were like 5 black bears on the porch, bro. And I know y'all like, come on, El, you going to the cabin in the mountains? That should expect it. I know you're supposed to expect it, but seeing it, knowing it's a possibility is totally a different thing for me, man. You know what I mean? It's something I still got to get used to. I'll let y'all know I didn't cancel the trip, but boy, when I tell y'all, man, I sure was thinking about it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, fam. Especially watching some of them shows and knowing like how some of them bears can respond. Yeah, man, that's, you know what I mean? I don't know. But anyway, man, listen, this video here, again, all about drones. Drone captures what no one was supposed to see, number 5. So we're gonna check this video out. If you new, hit that subscribe button, join the fam, and here we go.
The drone industry is rapidly growing, and it will continue to do so. There are pros and cons to drone technology, but as of right now, we see them as tiny but helpful aircraft. They're very capable of performing tasks such as rescue operations, surveillance, deliveries, and more. But let's focus on the most apparent benefit of drones. You can capture places and things from a bird's eye view, and sometimes you might catch something bizarre. From a large slum to a forest on a ship, here are moments when a drone captures what no one was supposed to see, number 5. Number 15. Large slum. This is Dharavi, India, currently recognized as the largest slum in Asia. Here, houses are almost stacked on top of each other. This locality can be found in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and it has an area of just over 0.81 square miles. That's only about 3/5 as big as Central Park in New York. And yet,
I don't like the fact that they call it the slums. That was really bothering me. And I was trying to let it go without saying anything, but I hate the fact that they call it the slums. You know what I mean? Because to some people, that's home. So, like, I hate that. That's almost kind of like disrespectful to me.
Square miles. That's only about 3/5 as big as Central Park in New York. And yet about 1 million people live in this slum area, making it one of the most densely populated areas in the world. Looking at it from a bird's eye view doesn't really do this place justice. If you're claustrophobic, then you might not like living here at all. But for people living on a tight budget, living here is better than having no shelter at all. You might be used to insane rent prices, but here, rents can be as low as $3. But you'd be surprised that in this jam-packed slum are people that work in one of the wealthiest business hubs in Asia, the nearby Bandra Kurla complex. Dharavi is home to many small-scale industries that produce pottery, plastic, embroidered garments, and more. You'd also be surprised that Dharavi is one of the most literate slums in India, with a literacy rate of 69%. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now. Number 14. Sheep herding patterns. I know that it looks kinda trippy, but what you're looking at are sheep running around. So while you're looking at this dizzying drone footage of sheep herding behavior, let me tell you a little bit about it. Sheep have what you call collective behavior. To protect themselves from danger, they tend to seek cover and push into the herd as deep as possible. This behavior is what...
Like, I know we've all heard of sheep herding, but to see it from this angle is different. It takes it like, wow, like, whoa.
They tend to seek cover and push into the herd as
like a bunch of little ants roaming, man.
Deep as possible.
But as a collective.
This behavior is what herd dogs take advantage of to successfully herd even almost 100 sheep. If you are trying to herd these sheep without experience, you might become frustrated. But a single sheepdog can herd this huge flock, and in fact, they can herd 80 or more sheep by themselves. Now that's pretty cool.
That is.
Number 13. Bear trying to catch a drone.
I feel like the universe at this point is just messing with me, man. What was we just talking about at the beginning of the video, right? The bear, right? Now it seems like everywhere I turn, I'm seeing some type of bear footage, bear photos. Like, I feel like the universe is just messing with me at this point.
In 2016, a man spotted a few bears snacking on some fish, and he decided to fly his drone above the two to observe them closer. It's quite understandable, since these guys can be pretty ferocious. They can grow from 3 to 5 feet tall at the shoulder when standing on all fours. However, they're known to be able to reach up to a staggering 9 feet when standing on their hind legs. That means a bear can easily tower over you. What's more is that they can weigh up to a whopping 1,700 pounds. It's no wonder that they're considered one of the heavyweights of the animal kingdom, because these guys can easily spend their entire day searching for and eating food. This drone footage shows you why the last thing you want to do is to disturb them while they're trying to fatten themselves up. After a few seconds, one of the bears finally noticed the drone and tried to shoo it away. It wasn't long until the bear started to grow more agitated and full-on chased the drone. That was only until it got distracted by the fish in the water once again. The bear was probably wondering what kind of weird bird was following him around. I don't know what went through this bear's mind, but I definitely wouldn't have wanted a suspicious-looking bird to follow me around while I was eating. Number 12. Tianjin Explosion Aftermath. Once a crowded industrial complex, this is the aftermath of the huge explosion that devastated the city. Buildings and homes were flattened, and more than 100 lives were lost. Tianjin Dongjiang Port Ruhai International Logistics was established in 2011. It handles all hazardous chemicals within the port of Tianjin, and that also includes flammable corrosive substances, including toxic chemicals. Extreme caution was needed. One wrong move could lead to destruction. Sadly, safety regulations requiring public buildings and facilities to be at least 1 kilometer away weren't followed. The locals lived their lives close to the site, not knowing the danger it posed to them. Then the disaster of August 2015 happened. 2 explosions occurred in Tianjin. The first explosion had the same power as 3 tons of TNT. The second was equivalent to 21 tons. It was so catastrophic that even the astronauts...
I remember hearing about this and thinking about the people that lived close by. Like, you know what I mean? It was so unfortunate that happened, bro. That was crazy.
Orbiting our planet on the ISS could have seen it from space. It's no wonder that for many years, the Tianjin blast site brought grief to many.
And it was due to negligence, man. Like, it was wrong. How things were ignored and, you know what I mean? Certain rules and guidelines were just overlooked, and it was bad. It was all bad.
People. It's quite haunting to look at this site from above and imagine that it was once a bustling community. The official number of deaths totaled 173. 8 were declared missing, and about 800 people were injured. The cause of the explosion wasn't immediately known, but the following year an investigation claimed that the cause was a container of dry nitrocellulose that overheated. Number 11. Drone Snack. You should never taunt an alligator, because this will happen. In this video, you can see a drone hovering above the gator. It seems that the flying object agitated the alligator so much that he took it down in one chomp. Or maybe...
Like, I think we forget how quick they are. And then some people don't know how high they can come out the water. Like, I just don't play around with gators at all, period. You know what I mean? Period.
He thought the drone was a bird. Who knows? Did you see how quickly it jumped and captured the drone in its jaws?
Exactly.
It's almost impossible for small animals to escape the bite of this reptile, and it was no different for the drone. The owner could only watch as his drone was being chewed to pieces by the alligator. You can see white smoke billowing out of the gator's mouth while he was chewing, and that's a little concerning. Alligators like staying in fresh water, and usually you won't notice them until you see 2 menacing eyes looking at you. So if you're trying to fly your drone over bodies of fresh water, you ought to be careful. Unless you don't mind losing your drone, that is. The largest alligator measured was a whopping 15 feet 9 inches long and weighed over 1,000 pounds. It was caught in Mill Creek, Alabama. But if you thought 15 feet was big, there's actually a 17-foot long captive Australian croc. When these reptiles pursue a meal, they can run up to 35 miles per hour in short bursts on land and in water. and they can lunge forward at a speed of 30 miles per hour. Oh, and see those teeth? Gators have about 75 teeth in their mouths, but they can go through up to 3,000 teeth over the course of their lifetime. Likewise, gators can deliver 3,000 pounds of bite force, making them one of the most powerful chompers in the animal kingdom. Number 10. Largest abandoned city. This is Hashima Island, commonly known as Gunkanjima, or Battleship Island. This tiny abandoned island several miles from Nagasaki is one of the more than 500 uninhabited islands in the surrounding prefecture. Hashima is more renowned because it's considered one of the world's largest abandoned cities and has a dark past. From a bird's eye view, you can see that the whole city is surrounded by a seawall that protects it from harsh weather. At first glance, it doesn't look like an abandoned city, but once you look up close, you'll see that it's nothing more but a concrete jungle slowly being reclaimed by nature. Before this, the island was a symbol of rapid industrialization in Japan, but alongside this progressive symbol is the dark reminder of Japanese war crimes during the
Almost look like Alcatraz.
Second World War. The island first started as a significant coal mine that was discovered in 1887. In 1890, the island saw rapid growth. Concrete buildings several stories high were built in 1916. After that, more and more people recognized Tashima. However, the concrete structures that protected the people of the island from calamities were built just after World War II by prisoners forced to work. By 1974, the mine started to run out of coal, and people started gradually leaving the island. Today, it's nothing but a barren wasteland of concrete slowly being eaten away by nature. Some people visit the ruins, but it's a little dangerous. Aside from the weather conditions affecting the concrete walls, the buildings are also in a state of decay, and you'll never know when debris might start falling. People that visited the island also claim that they felt the whole place was haunted. According to them, they could feel hands on them while exploring the area, and they also hear strange noises that couldn't have been made by anything in the area. Fishermen who have sailed near the island also claim that they've seen strange lights coming from the buildings, even though there's no electricity on Hashima. Could it be that the Battleship Island is haunted? And are these so-called hauntings merely phantoms of what it once was? Number 9. Huddle.
Dang. Yeah. I'm definitely keeping that in mind. Don't ever want to end up there. That place look like, and I'd be surprised if it's not abandoned. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't need to go there.
You might be wondering what you're looking at. This is a herd of walruses, but I like using the term huddle more. It's pretty tricky, but if you look closely, you can see that these wriggling creatures are walruses from a drone's point of view. Pretty impressive, right? These creatures can be found in the Arctic, where they thrive in the vast and bare environment of ice and sea. They can also be found in coastal areas from Canada to Greenland, as well as Russia and Alaska. It's pretty easy to distinguish these guys from seals. Walruses have tusks that can grow up to 90 centimeters long, and the way they use their tusks might even impress you. Just like how you use your ski poles, walruses use their long tusks to haul their huge bodies out of the water. They also use it to pierce and smash ice when they're underwater to create breathing holes. Now you're probably wondering, why are their bodies so chunky? Simple. Their layers of blubber protect them from the freezing temperatures, which can sometimes go as low as -35 degrees Celsius. A single walrus can weigh 70 kilograms at birth and weigh up to 1.5 tons as adults. Aside from their tusks and their amazing size, walruses have incredible whiskers that can detect snacks at the bottom of the ocean. They can reach speeds of up to 35 kilometers per hour underwater. If they want to rest underwater, they can nap using specialized air sacs on their throats that act like portable air tanks. It's filled with up to 50 liters of air, so they can doze off in the water without sinking. With all these amazing capabilities, walruses have pretty long lives, up to 40 years. Only orca and polar bears see adult walruses as prey, and nothing else in their habitat poses a threat to them. Number 8. Boneyard.
What is up with all these animals and different things that have like this look, but are very fast? You know what I mean? The speed is deceptive. Because you look at the walrus and you be like, all right, at least I know I can get away from him. Maybe not, especially if you're in water. You know what I mean? So you can't be deceived by the looks at all.
Do you ever wonder where airplanes and other aircraft go once they're out of commission? Here they are. After their last flight, the aircraft will either be brought to open-air aviation museums or to boneyards, which is usually the case. This is what you'll see if you ever fly over Tucson, Arizona. Rows and rows of aircraft ranging from heavy bombers to cargo lifters. The 309th Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Group inside the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base has thousands of aircraft in its inventory, making it one of the largest boneyards in the world. From afar, you would think that the planes arranged here are toys. It's easy to believe the illusion when you're looking at the mesmerizing aircraft arrangements. Number 7. Skeleton Coast. This vast and lonely coast, usually devoid of human life, is the Skeleton Coast of Namibia. The coast got its name from the whale and sea bones that once scattered the shore. But today, there are more shipwrecks here than any other remains. More than 1,000 vessels of various sizes can be found on the coast. Some shipwrecks remain submerged in the water, slowly being eaten away by rust and corrosion, while some of the shipwrecks were covered with sand. This desolate and unforgiving environment forced the sailors that wrecked their ships to face the hellish terrain just to survive. Despite the seemingly hostile desert, wildlife flourished in this ruthless land. Lions, hyenas, birds, and other animals continue to thrive in its environment to this day. The Skeleton Coast is known as a popular spot to explore, especially for those that want to see the shipwrecks with their own 2 eyes. Number 6. Ruins of Belchita. Belchita is a municipality and village located in Zaragoza, Spain. However, instead of a lively community, it's an old Spanish town with crumbling establishments that are barely standing. The ruins of Belchita tell the tragic story of war and destruction. From 1936 to 1939, Belchita was the front line between 2 armies during the Spanish Civil War. It has seen death, destruction, and endless battle. Today, history buffs can still appreciate the buildings that remain in the area, but piles of rubble are noticeable. The once beautiful cathedral is filled with bullet holes and mortar shells. The war that raged on did not only affect Belchita alone, but it also left hundreds of unmarked graves all over the country. Number 5. Lion's Wrath. One person tried to fly his drone inside a lion enclosure, and it's safe to say that it's not.
Now, this is a good reason to have a drone right here, because I ain't stepping foot in no lion's cage at all.
The best idea. You can see that the lions were immediately wary of the flying object, and they slowly tried to get closer to observe. At first, the operator kept his distance. You can see the lions' tails moving from left to right, a sign of caution, playfulness, and curiosity. But it's most likely that the tail flick indicates that they're in a bad mood. Tail flicks are huge stay-away indicators, but the drone did the opposite.
See, now I learned something new right there. Normally they tell you that about dogs. You could tell what type of a mood a dog is in by his tail. If he's in a playful mood or curious or he's upset, he's angry. You could always tell by the tail, right? Now you pretty much can do the same thing. You have to learn their tail movements, but you can do the same thing with a lion. Even though I don't want to get that close to be able to identify what their tail is doing, I don't even want to be able to be close enough to see their tail, period.
Seems that for a split second, the drone operator lost control of the tiny aircraft. Perhaps they were trying to surprise the lion to get a reaction out of it. It did back off and let out a warning growl, but the little stunt sent the drone crashing to the ground. So here's your point of view if you ever fall on your back in front of a lion. Well, given that the drone is unfamiliar to them, they're more curious than angry, so the drone wasn't mauled or destroyed. If it were a human, the ending might be a bit different. The drone operator managed to get his drone back with no damage because after a little nudging, the lions let it be.
They lucky.
Lions have a bite force of 650 pounds per square inch, and their paws can do incredible damage as well. With that being said, I want you guys to be honest. As dangerous as lions are, we still find them pretty adorable. And at the end of the day, they're similar to our house cats that like to play and be lazy. Don't get me wrong, they might be cuddly, but they're incredibly deadly, so admire them from a distance. And now it's time for today's topic. A drone captured what no one was supposed to see when its lens caught a blurry photo of this mysterious white figure waiting in the woods. The creature looks kinda freaky, and to this day, internet sleuths and cryptozoologists still can't determine what it is. A strange guy in an equally strange costume in the middle of the woods? A monster that we don't know about? An extraterrestrial creature? The theories are endless. There must be something with supernatural and mythical creatures and cameras, because despite being captured, the photos always turn out a bit blurry. It poses the question, we have cameras that can clearly take a photo of the moon, and yet why is it that in our digital world we still can't capture photos of ghosts and other entities clearly? Blurry photos don't necessarily mean we should arrive at a conclusion that they're fake, but theory suggests that perhaps there's some sort of interference that prevents us from clearly seeing them. It's quite hard to see the details of this photo, but I know all too well that this creature is creepy. As always, comment down below with the hashtag today's topic and let us know your opinion about what we just showed on screen. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 4. Colemanscop. Houses filled with sand, broken windows, decaying walls, and rust-covered metal. This is the ghost town of Colemanscop in Namibia. Under the harsh and almost unbearable heat of the Namib Desert, this town has been long abandoned by its citizens. Only visitors that are curious about the abandoned town visit the area, and no one else. It's hard to believe that it was once one of the wealthiest communities in Namibia. Flashback to the month of April 1908. Colemanscop didn't exist yet, and a railway worker who saw a glimmering stone on the line sparked the creation of this town. The glimmering stone was a diamond, and once news broke out, the diamond rush began. Hundreds of people hurried toward the area to get their hands on the expensive stone. It wasn't long until the town was built, a town started by people's desire to acquire wealth. By 1912, the town was producing 1 million carats a year, amounting to 11.7% of the world's total diamond production. Far from the eerie ghost town it is now. It was once a lively town with a butcher, a post office, an ice factory, and a few eccentric citizens. However, the town also had a history of colonial violence. The town simply wasn't built to last, and as the mines ran out of precious diamonds, the townsfolk abandoned their homes and possessions. Number 3. Railway market.
That's what happens when you got a lot of greed around there. You can only imagine that people who flooded there just had one thing on their mind, and they was greedy too at the same time. So yeah, I can imagine so.
Most people, especially those who prefer to commute, might find it convenient to live near their train station, but this railway is just a tad bit too close for
Bro, that's almost like the train just coming through your living room, you might as well say. That's way too, bro.
comfort. This is the Meklong Rail Market in Thailand. It's quite mesmerizing to see. Nothing is permanent here, and you always need to watch out for the incoming train. The railway is literally built in the middle of stores and houses. The people assemble and disassemble their stores as the train comes and goes. Sounds hectic, right? And it is. There have been several deaths linked to this railway, and several of them were people that tried to take a photo of themselves, unaware of the oncoming train. Today, the Meklong train market is one of the world's most dangerous railways. Number 2. Sasquatch. Sasquatch, or Bigfoot, is a creature that was believed to be 6 to 10 feet tall. Stories about this creature first appeared in the 19th century, and it wasn't long until different versions of the story came out. Descriptions of Sasquatch may vary, but it's generally believed that he's incredibly big, tall, and covered in fur. No one knows if Sasquatch actually exists, but several pieces of evidence circulate the internet. One drone in particular captured this curious sight. As you can see, trains are moving and shaking as if someone or something powerful is shaking the trees. Some netizens believe that this is the work of Sasquatch, but some refute the claim. Number 1. Forest on a ship. Have you ever heard of a floating forest? If you live in Sydney, Australia, then you probably have. This is a 102-year-old ship, and it's become a floating forest through the years. The view is pretty incredible. Who would have thought that trees would thrive on an abandoned ship in the middle of the water? There are other shipwrecks in Homebush Bay, but this particular one became the key attraction. After all, it's unlike any other. You don't need a drone to see the ship from afar, so if you're ever near the area, you might want to stop by if you're curious about this floating forest. So what's your opinion about drones? Are you one of the people that own one? If so, what's the most interesting video you've ever captured? Let me know about them in the comments.
I don't have one, so I'll just speak about what we just saw. That train going through that narrow little that's insane, bro. That breaks your heart to see people having to live like that. You know what I mean? Man, dangerous, scary. Like, imagine that coming through, and if it's loud, what that does to your heart. That could scare the mess, like jolt you like real quick. Man, that's insane to see that, bro. Wow, I've never seen anything like that, period. Jeez, man, that blew my mind. I'm out on that note, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.